Wow, now tell me about trying to track down the people from September's life. What was it like speaking to them? Were you always met with people who wanted to talk to you?
Well, I mean, so that's the other remarkable thing for me about the story behind this book, and that's that I found for some reason that I can't quite explain, that people from the old order, so from the apartheid side, if you want to call it that, were more willing to talk than people from the ANC, for example. So I had a harder time getting people in the ANC to talk to me than I did getting people on the other side. But having said that, I must also point out that the interviews themselves weren't easy. So it took me 2 years, for example, to get an interview with Eugene de Kock. And I don't know why it took so long. I'm guessing that de Kock's people didn't know who I was. They didn't quite know what my intentions were, so they needed time to check me out, and I'm guessing it took them 2 years to do that. But it was incredible, and also, I mean, the thing about this kind of topic is that you can't be too squeamish about who you talk to. And so, for example, one of the most important people, and I actually met him very late in the game, was Armand Nofomela, the killer, and former death squad, operative, and it was largely thanks to him, and I say this, with a great deal of caution and reluctance maybe, and it was largely thanks to him that I was able to interview many of the Askaris that I spoke to. And there again, you can't be judgmental, you can't, be hoity-toity, because you have to talk with whoever you need to talk to. And as you know, as a journalist, that we can't be too choosy about who we talk to.
Tell me about interviewing these Askaris and former death squad members. What was going through your mind? What was it like actually having these conversations face to face after researching and being interested in the topic for so many years before?
Yeah, that was the other striking thing for me, and just how ordinary these people were. Armand Nofomela is, so I'm short, I'm 5'7", and Armand Nofomela, I think, is about the same height. He looks so ordinary, and he's got a bit of a pouch, but he doesn't, he's a complete teetotaler. He doesn't drink, doesn't smoke. And he looks like your uncle. Now, if you saw him on the street and you didn't know who he was, you wouldn't think twice about this man. And the same with the other guys that I saw. These were ordinary people. I mean, they look ordinary. They look regular. They look like the sort of random people you would see on the streets of Cape Town or Joburg. But it's only when you start talking to them, when they start opening their mouths and telling you stories about things they did, that you realize that, oh my goodness, these are incredible stories from people who've led incredible lives. So that for me was I guess I went in half knowing this, because of the literature that I'd read. Because serial killers, and these in some ways were political serial killers, because serial killers, don't have horns, and they don't have, they might have deeper psychological attributes that point to their being serial killers, but on the face of it, they look ordinary.
Wow, and what did they have to say about September? What did they add to his story?
Yeah. Well, they had a lot to say about September. So one of the key points I make in this book is that everything I say has to be taken with a pinch of salt. That everything that people told me must also be taken with a pinch of salt, and that's because there's so much self-interest. There is so much we don't know about our past, and there's so much that these people got up to. Askaris, that we don't know, because the Truth Commission never got to the bottom of many of their stories, but B, because these people all carry with them secrets that they're holding on to. So there's so much that we don't know, and so that's why I insist throughout the book that whatever I say has to be taken with a great deal of, a great deal of salt, because there's also stuff that is there but not there. So the stories that would tell me about September, all but one of them told me that September was just incredibly generous, incredibly funny, incredibly amazing person. One guy even told me about how September saved his life because he'd threatened to kill de Kock, and somehow a word of this got back to de Kock, and de Kock was going to shoot this guy. But September happened to be close by, and for some reason that I still don't understand, de Kock liked September. And so when September pleaded with de Kock to not shoot this person, and de Kock listened. And apparently that was very rare. De Kock's word was God's word, and what de Kock said went. And once he took a decision, he would act on it. But he for some reason listened to September, and he liked September. So people said, on the whole, positive things about him. He was a nice guy. He was generous. He was sweet. He was funny. But one guy also said that, oh no, he was a nasty piece of work. So it's there again, unreliable narrators that one has to listen to, but listen to with a great deal of caution.